Good morning, everyone. It is February 7th, I think, 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. This is my weekly live that I do right here in YouTube every Wednesday at 11 o'clock Eastern time. So if you are catching the replay, thank you so much for watching. If you're here live with me, give me a shout out. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to say hi and see your wonderful name scroll by. If we haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Jamie. I am the Jamie and Stamp It Up with Jamie. And I'm in upstate New York. I've been an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator for 8 years now. And I have the immense pleasure and joy of coming to you every week and sharing all the things paper crafting, card making, scrapbooking. I do some 3D projects, not a whole lot. Some treat holders. I do classes, events, retreats, all the fun things. Okay. So what I like to do each week is kind of take one product or a grouping of products and use it all week long, make 4 different projects with it, show you a variety of ways to use it, and hopefully inspire you to get in your craft area and get stamping and making a handmade card. I also really enjoy answering questions. I see my role here in really just helping you have the most positive, amazing, awesome, great, incredible experience paper crafting that you can possibly have. And so if I can help and serve you in any way, please let me know. I'm here to help. Okie dokie. So good morning, Amy. My eyelashes are bothering me. Okay. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put a reminder up. Oh, well. Okay. So this week I'm using Stampin' Up's Flower Cart bundle. Let me do this. Hold on. There we go. So it is a photopolymer stamp set. And what I love about this, I am all for as much bang for your buck. I'm all for getting just about as much out of a product that you can. And I love that you can just use the stamp set if you want. You can make your card and build it. Love that we have these little rocks. Or you can use like the individual components by itself. Like you could just do a potted flower by itself. You could do a grouping of potted flowers. I don't know how I went this week with making all 4 of my cards and none of them use that. So I'll have to switch that. Maybe on that one card over there, I'll do a grouping of flowers. But I totally spazzed and didn't use it. And I love that we have a Mother's Day sentiment. And I love that we have a birthday sentiment. And I love that we have some other just general sentiments. Those are by far my favorite ones to use. Have a lovely day. And I love how our friendship has grown. Oh, and there's the happy hello, which is probably my favorite. Again, because I love to mail all occasion cards. So this bundle, if you'd like to find it in your catalog, I believe is on page 31. It is. And this card here is where I took inspiration for one of my cards. You're going to see that in a second. And then there's another one over here on this page, on page 30, that uses that grouping of flowers that I forgot to use this week. Oops. And then if you didn't know, you can also go to the back of our catalogs and look at the specific bundles. What is it? Flower. I'm like, what's the word of it? And there's another card back there that gives you yet another idea of how you can use the bundle, which they use the embossing paste, which looks really, really cool. Okay. What I'm hoping to do in today's live, in all seriousness, this was the very first card I made. And I was like, how in the world do you put that cart together? Because it has all these like components. And I was like, I don't know what goes with what and where. And so I was kind of like analyzing the catalog, like figuring out, okay, where does this wheel go? I almost put it on the wrong way. And so I'm hoping to just break down how to build the cart. Or maybe you're not like me and you're like, Jamie, it's very obvious and very easy. And then in that case, I'm hoping that this live is just pure entertainment for you because maybe you catch on to things quicker than I do. So this was today's card. Yesterday's card was that one that I said I was kind of inspired from the catalog. I love, okay, ready? I love the lemon lolly with the crumb cake and granny apple green. I just loved this color combination. I felt, I don't know, it was just very yummy. So that was yesterday's card. Tomorrow's card is, which one am I doing tomorrow? I think this is tomorrow's card. I forget. And this is the one I thought, oh, I probably could have used that grouping of potted flowers together. I really like the lemon lolly, so I kept it, but I added shaded spruce as the green. And then I fussy cut out the little pebbles. There isn't a die that goes with it. So if you want the like cobblestone to be cut out, you're going to have to fussy cut that. And I love this one that uses the gold wheels, the gold foil, but then I love it in just the black so much. And then on Friday, Amy's here. I was inspired by one of the cards she made and when she just used the potted flowers by themselves. And so that's when I went with kind of really clean and simple, super, super simple. And I love the colors I use. So I kept the flirty flamingo, I kept the lemon lolly, and then added in some fresh freesia there. Love that texture background and just did some die cutting, like super quick and simple. Lemon lolly is going to make me love yellow after all. Of all of our yellows, I can appreciate lemon lolly the most. Let's put it that way. So there's this week's card. I love this bundle so much. And I was like going back and forth as to what card I wanted to make with you. And I landed on this one because I figured we could do some stamping, we can do some embossing, and we can put the card together. So as I'm going along, if you have questions, certainly shout out and let me know. By the way, I started off with this card. I was going to go purple. I don't know if that's whatever, in focus for you. I was going to go purple. And then I realized I really don't like purple. I really don't like the color purple. And so I scratched it and I went flirty flamingo instead. But it does show for all my team purple out there. And I know some of you are die-hard team purple. You can always switch up the colors and go that way. By the way, I had one single sheet of Flirty Flamingo Designer Series paper left, and I used it for my sample card. So we're going to just leave the back blank today. But just so you know, this is Flirty Flamingo. It's the Flirty Flamingo pattern in the Brights Designer Series paper pack. So just so you know, I'm not going to add that today because I only had one sheet left. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just use different colors. And I thought, no, I really like the Flirty Flamingo. We're going to stick with it and just keep the back blank. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, Flirty Flamingo. Oh, I forgot to get my embossing folder up. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves for a hot second. Here I am, like I got everything out. I'm so ready to go. And I realized I forgot to get my embossing. Okay, so then I took 2 pieces of basic white. The first is a 4 by 5 1/4. And then the second one is just 1/8 bigger, or excuse me, 1/8 smaller. So it would be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. They're going to be able to mat on each other. If you've watched my videos before or watched my cards, I can't help but mat. I have to. So yeah. So 4 by 5 1/4, and then the second one is just 1/8 smaller. And this one, I just wanted like a little bit of texture, but not like screaming texture. And so I did just some partial embossing. And you do that by just putting in your embossing folder like part way. It's actually like makes complete sense. The only thing that's hard is getting it straight. We're going to call that good enough. So you're only going to put your paper in part way and then run it through your embossing machine, die cut embossing machine. I do mine off camera because honestly, moving that thing is quite the hassle. And so then you get just some partial embossed. And this is a great way to add texture without adding a lot of texture. Just a little hint of texture. And then I wanted to cover that seam. Now, look, this is how much I have left. Actually, do I? No, I take that back. I have a full pack. What am I thinking? I have a full another pack. Silly me. So I'm going to generously use it. I was only going to use a little bit. Thanks, Julie. Hello, Judy. And forget that. Now I'm going to use it all. So just to kind of go over that seam, you don't need to do something over that seam, but I wanted to. So I'm going to wrap the Flirty Flamingo Baker's Twine. This is in the, what is it called? Baker's Twine 3-color pack. You get Flirty Flamingo, Balmy Blue, and Lemon Lolly. And I did use the Lemon Lolly on other cards this week. And I used the Flirty Flamingo on other cards as well. They're just such happy colors. It goes with the hot air balloon, but you can use it outside of that. I just tied a boatload of bows for Stamp Camp, and my fingers are a little raw from like pulling the bow. It like hurt when I just did it. I'm like, why is that hurt? Oh yeah, Stamp Camp bows. I tied about a bajillion of them. Okay, so just fiddle with it until you like it. And one is way longer than the other, so we're going to shorten it. And I may give it another bit of a haircut, but we'll leave it at that. Should we leave it at that? Actually, I'm going to have to move it over. It's going to be too far. How taut am I? So what I'd like to do, and I've said this before, so you may be like, Jamie, you're being redundant. But when you tie a bow like this, unless you have someone with you to kind of hold it taut, you can end up with like your strings kind of loosey-goosey and not really tight. Oh, yay, Julie. Thank you. So what I'd like to do is flip it over and take a little bit of your adhesive. Just put a little strip on the back and then squish your fingers together to get rid of all that little excess. Now, it wasn't a ton, but you'll see now it's nice. Well, it is tight. It's not loosey-goosey. Oops, get back here. So that's my little thing. When I tie a bow, I don't really focus on getting it tight because I can fix that later. I just want the bow to look pretty. Okay. So my seam is covered. I'm going to adhere this on the back, to my other basic white panel. Look at the red tape. You see it there? I feel like I am gambling. I do have a refill ready to go should I run out of adhesive, which will probably happen. Okay. And then I didn't use dimensionals. I put it right on the Flirty Flamingo card base. Thanks, Rosie. Gotta love Rosie. She always has our back. Thank you. Yes. If you're watching, give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the goodies. I feel like this one's a hair too big. I cut off like a 16th, but it was really bothering me. Okay. So now we are going to assemble our cart. And let me get my dies. I did not get them ready ahead of time. So you're going to need this doodah. This looks like quite the contraption. Contraption? Is that the word? Wow. I just totally second guessed if that was the right word or not. You're going to need the little tent details. I don't know how to describe everything. The banner. What else? You're going to need the actual box of the cart. What else am I forgetting besides the flowers? That's it, I think, right? The flowers we'll do separately. Okay. So my tent is going to be Flirty Flamingo. My cart and the banner are going to be gold. Oh, I didn't get pecan pie. Hold on. I forgot to grab pecan pie. Pecan pie is going to be our box. Oh, and I need some white for the banners. Okay. I'm going to run these through my machine. And hold on, that one is way warped. A different one. What I'm going to do, let me put these, and I can probably do some of these together. That's the greatness of, I'm not cutting out like a specific shape. I mean like stamped shape. So if it shifts, it's not the end of the world. My top matches the paper. I totally didn't do that, Shelly, on purpose. You think I did, but I didn't. Oh my gosh, that's so true. I did not do that on purpose. It's just a really comfortable shirt. Has buttons on the back. My kids are like, Mom, your shirt's on backwards. The buttons are on the back. I'm like, no, that's the way it's supposed to be. They're like, we don't get it. I'm like, it's an old person thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do to just kind of accentuate, I don't know if the light is picking it up, but there is embossed texture that goes into that cart. And in order to kind of accentuate it, I'm going to add pecan pie ink to the die. Now, it's not hurting the die. As soon as, I mean, I could just wipe the die clean and it washes right off. You know, it's just watercolor ink. So rinsing with water will clean it. And this just adds a little bit of extra color to when it gets die cut. Now you could build a box like I did with this. So see how the box is built? It has the front piece and the back piece. My flowers are going to cover the back piece, so I don't have to worry about inking up the other side of the box. The crate. I don't know what this is called. But so I just added color and I'm going to run that through. Oh, hold on. Let me close this. I'm always paranoid that I'm going to like put an elbow in it or something. Okay. Now, a couple of things that I learned. First of all, here's our tent. Ooh, don't break that leg. Come on, don't be silly. Don't be silly. Okay, we have a tent. What I learned isn't about the that. I'll tell you in a second. We have a banner, which got stuck. Come on. Okay. And we have one wheel. I'm going to have to run that through again. That did not cut all the way through. Now, this is what I learned. It's important to keep your little tent doodads, tent stripes, I don't know what they're called, this, in the order that you cut them. Because believe it or not, they're not exactly the same size. At least when I used them, they weren't the same size. So keep them in their order. And then we have our crate, which also got stuck. Ta-da! Ooh, beautiful. I should have done one that wasn't colored so you could kind of see, but there's like little extra, it's like darker in the wood grain. And then it also cuts this. We're not going to use it, but this is what you would use if you wanted to make like a 3D box, like I did here. Like if you needed to see the back of the box. I don't know. Is that a box? I don't know what. The wood. Let me run this one again. It didn't quite cut it out. Hold on. Probably because I had so much on the plate at one time. Okay, now we're cooking with steam. So I think one wheel, two wheels, and then the little post. I don't know what that's called. Leg? The leg. The cart leg. That's what we're going to call it. Okay, one wheel. Now this is where I got confused. I'm like, I don't know what wheel is what, and I don't know where they go. Get rid of the garbage. Don't need this. Okay, so we're building, right? We got to do some stamping, but we're doing some building. What I found, well, let's wait for that. Let's do the stamping first. Okay, let's do a little shiftaroo. Keep those in there. Okay, so we're going to stamp the leaves first. It's one big leaf image. Granny apple green. And we also need to do a separate single leaf, which is on my block somewhere. There it is. Okay, gorgeous, beautiful. And then let's do the pot. Pot we're going to stamp in pecan pie. Sure, beautiful, gorgeous. I learned that about the order of the tent stripes too. I put mine on all out of order and then they didn't fit. Yep, same, Amy, same. If you look at my sample, was it this one or was it different? I think it was this one. They don't quite fit. The one is a little short. Okay, flowers. We're going, these are now two-step stamping. So we're going to stamp right over our leaves. Take your time. Don't sneeze, whatever you do. Beautiful. What I like about these two-step stamping is that they're not like directly touching each other. So there's a little bit of give about stamping. So if you don't get it like perfectly right, it's a little forgiving. And that's what I liked about it, because a couple of my cards I made, I'm like, ooh, that's a little off, but it's not like terribly where I needed to stamp it again. It worked. It was doable. Okay, so now we're going to cut these out with the flower and the other flower and the pot. Okay, off camera because I'm not moving my machine. Let's see, can I cut them all at once? Am I a betting lady? Probably not. Well, maybe. Oops. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, my pot's not going to work. Okay, hold on. I can do two and then the pot separately. Okay, so flower, flower. Oh, why did I just move that? I need that. Come back. Come back. That's everything gone. Okay, and then we have the pot image. Okay, now for this, I'm going to bring in our silicone mat. I don't use it terribly often, but it's so handy when using liquid glue because the liquid glue doesn't stick to it. It just comes right off. It's not like using your grid paper where, you know, you're ruining the paper if you get glue on it. So this is what I did, okay? Now, this is where I was like, I don't know what to do. I initially thought this wheel that has the little hinge on it was the front. Lo and behold, it's the back wheel. So what I did, and I honestly, I'm sure you can do this different ways, but I found it easiest to do this, is I first attached my wheels together. And I did that by just lining up the axle, the wheel axle. Is that what that's called? I don't even know. With the other wheel doodah. I don't know my wheel terminology. Okay, so like the end of the offshoot of the wheel, I lined up with the center of the other wheel. One doodah to the other doodah. And on my sample card, you'll see your wheel, one side is a little thicker than the other. For this card, I had the thickness on going the same way. And then I was looking at someone else's card on Pinterest, and they had them opposite. And I think that looks better. Actually, let's look at what the catalog has. I don't know. Because I didn't even notice at first that one side was thicker than the other. Let's see. Oh, no. In the catalog, they have them going the same way. Maybe I should have them go the same way. I don't know. I saw the person do it opposite, and I thought, oh, that's clever. So I went opposite, but okay, we'll do what when in doubt, do what the catalog says. So I have both the thickness, the wheel that is a little wider to the right. Okay. Now, at this point, we're going to attach it to our box, our wood. Now, I would normally wait just a hot second for it to dry, but for the sake of time, we're not going to. So at the top of the left wheel on the back, I'm going to put a little glue, and on the front of the right wheel, I'm going to put it on the top. So the left wheel, glue goes on the back, right wheel, the glue goes on the front. And I'm going to just wiggle that in. Oops, that was not where I wanted to go. Kind of sort of there. Now, maybe it's better to like glue one wheel and then glue the second one to the actual wood, but this way made sense in my brain because I could really figure out placement. Oh dear. I lost. Oh, there it is. I lost the little stand. Ah. Okay, and again, maybe there's a better way to do this, but for the little stand or whatever this is called, the legs, I put a little glue just at the top, and this is why the silicone mat is so handy, because it's gonna stick. This is why I hate liquid glue, because I end up covered. And I just kind of catch it. Okay. And at this point, we keep building. Now, for the flowers, I found it helpful to use just a little bit of tear tape, which is here somewhere. Well, there it is. I found it. Come on. So I just took like a little bit of tear tape, and I'm going to use it like tape, like actual tape. And the left flowers are going to kind of overhang the box a little bit. I keep calling it a box. The wood crate, I don't know what it is. The cart, the actual cart, I guess. And then the back, like the right goes to the back. And I want it to stay in place. So this is where I'm going to use the tear tape to just hold it together. Now, when I put dimensionals on, it will really hold everything together and it won't shift, but that'll just help me. It'll buy me time. Now, there is this really cute, where's my sample? The one I didn't use, I should say. There's this really cute like railing that you can also die cut. I didn't love the railing as much because it covered the beautiful flowers, and I thought the flowers were so cheerful and happy. So when I ended up making the Flirty Flamingo card, I forgot the railing, but there is a railing if you'd like to attach it. Okay, and then so let's do our doodad. And again, keep them in order because they will fit better if they are in order. They are slightly different sizes. So we're going to start left to right. A dab will do ya. Dab, dab. And then fit it on. Liquid glue is great because you can kind of maneuver it a little bit to fit. Don't use liquid glue often because I end up wearing it and it's like just multiplies, but it is very helpful when doing things like this, I will say. One screen, okay. And you want it to line up across the top and the bottom. You don't want it too crooked. I cut out a banner, so we'll add that. There's so much you can do with the banner. You can have it going across like the actual cart, which I think is so stinking cute. I actually think I like it more, but we're going to stick with what I did initially and put it on the tarp canopy thing. Cookies. Now, same thing that we did with our stand here. I'm just going to put, I mean, these things are so tiny, but just glue on the bottoms of the, whatever we're calling this, tent canopy. And okay, just making sure I'm still on camera. And I'm just going to catch it on the back. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if the canopy is supposed to go straight or at an angle, like to follow the angle of the wood here. So that's what I did with this one. I have it kind of angled. This one I did it straight, so I don't know. To me, that looks a little weird if it's angled. Maybe I should make it straight again. I think that's what I did initially, is like I angled it and I was like, that just doesn't look right. Okay, we'll go straight. And then we're assembled. We're all good. Actually, while we're doing this, we'll put our flower over our basket because I'm going to use glue for that also. Ah, it dropped. Get back here. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom because that's really the only part that's going to be like overhanging the pot. Let that dry. Okie dokie. So where's our card? Here's our card. We're going to put dimensionals because when in doubt, you use dimensionals. That's not even a question. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you like it. Now, it's going to overhang or cover our twine, and I don't want to put dimensionals where the twine is because then it's not going to lay right. So it looks like I'm just going to put it over the flowers, and I'm going to cover my tent so that it just reinforces. And then I'm going to cut, where is a doodah? We're going to cut one of these mini dimensionals in half because I want a little bit of like adhesive on our wheels, and there's just enough space in the wheel well, in the wheel circle, I don't know what that's called, where you can put half a mini dimensional. And then we pull off our backings like so. Lots of them. And then, oh, I got to fix that because I did have that too in my sample. So because there's just tear and tape, I found like this little front wanted to lift. And so I put the tiniest dab of glue there just to kind of reinforce where those two meet. And then I'm going to take off the excess glue. Perfect. I forgot I did that. Okay. And then I really should have moved my bow over more. Oh dear. We're going to put our potted flower right there with dimensionals just on the bottom. Oops, come back. I'm going to use my tweezer so I can hold it easier. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Love it. Okay, sentiment. Here we go. We're going to heat emboss. I wanted to bring in like more of those gold touches. They're in the cart, they're in the banner. And then I thought, I kind of have this dead space here. So let's do a die cutting and let's bring in the gold again. So did I not get white to, I did not get white to do the sentiment. Hold on. That should do, I think. Is that big enough? Let's test it before I stamp it. So I'm going to end up cutting it out. Listen, I warned you guys. I did. I really did warn you. I love these everyday, nope, not that size. These everyday detail dies. Everyday details dies. I love them. Ooh. Well, actually, I'm just cutting out the center, so we're good. I love them. Look at how well loved they are already. I use them in this card and I use them in this card. So this card uses the rectangle and the tiny circle. I love them. And I'm going to apologize now because I just plan on using them. That's too big too. I use the smallest one. I plan on using them all the time, as much as possible. And until you are sick and tired of seeing me use them because I love them that much. These dies, the everyday details dies and the perennial postage dies, I think they are. To me, they're a must-have. I feel like everybody needs them. It's not even a question of do you want them? It's a question of you need them. It's not a want, it's a need. They're so good. Okay, so we're going to heat emboss in gold. This is gold embossing powder. Oh, why did I take that out and then just drop it right back in? That was silly. Okay, we'll do that. So I have my Versamark ink. I have my powder. And where did I do? Oh, my embossing buddy, which is right in front of my eyes, and my stamp. So first thing we're going to do is take our embossing buddy and wipe over our, whatever you're using. In this case, it's white cardstock. If you're, whatever, if you're using a colored cardstock. This gets rid of the static, gets rid of any dust, any little debris where the embossing powder will want to stick. And it makes it so the embossing powder just sticks to whatever you stamp. It's a way to get rid of like those little flecks that you can get. Then we're going to stamp in Versamark ink. Versamark ink, because it stays wet longer, doesn't dry as quickly, buys you time to get the powder on. Woo! I need to like restock my gold embossing powder. You can see where I didn't put the embossing buddy. right along the side. A little tap, tap, tap to get rid of some excess. Oh, that's not the lid. Where's the lid? Okay, now we're going to heat our heat tool. And you're going to heat it until it goes from a powder to a nice shine. Close, but not too close. Ta-da! And I don't know, they're amazing. Oh, there you go. See that light catch it? Ah, gorgeous. So pretty. And then we're going to cut it out with the must-have everyday detail dies. Everyday details. Is it plural? It is plural. Everyday details dies. It rolls off the tongue. Now, I will say the downside to these dies is that then you have a bajillion little tiny doodads in your die. So you don't already have it, you're going to want this roller. It's one of the attachments you can get for the Take Your Pick tool. And I put mine right like over my garbage. And then you just roll over it and it pops out all those little pesky pieces. Did I get them? I missed one. Ta-da! And that way they're not on my workstation. They're not making a mess for the most part. And I have a really, really awesome sentiment, which is going to fill. I love, like I made this card. I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much dead space. But the sentiment really fills it almost like perfectly, like it was made to be. They're a match made in heaven. Doop, doop, doop. Okay, let's see if I can get these straight. I love have a lovely day because you could make it a birthday card, have a lovely day on the inside, happy birthday. Or it could literally just be like wishing you a good day. I hope you have a good day. Now, you could add some gold embellishments. I think would be really great with this. I didn't, my prerogative is kind of less is more. So I figured there's kind of a lot going on already between the embossing and the twine and then the dotted sentiment. So I left it as is, but you can certainly add some embellishments around. I didn't plan anything for the inside, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to do a strip of white or a panel of white and leave it as is. And then down the road, I may end up stamping the inside depending on who it goes to for whatever occasion. Okay, so there you have it. Again, difference between my two cards, big difference is I ran out of the Flirty Flamingo pattern paper. So you can keep it simple. Honestly, this it shows such like a tiny little amount. It's not even like a huge impact on the card. But, you know, simpler or more bedazzled. You can go either way. Love the flower cart bundle. You can make that card. This one you'll see later on. This was my Monday card, and then this one's my Friday card. You can stamp the cart. You can die cut the cart. You can use just the flowers. You can use all of it at once. I just think there's so much you can do with it. I love how it's different. It's just a different kind of card. So let me switcheroo. If you have any questions, if you're ready to shop, we have a great starter kit offer right now. If you would like to get a hold of me, follow me on social media, jamieb.com. Make sure you spell my name right, JAIMIEB, as in boy.com, is my catch-all link. You can find me, all my links over there for the most part. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Let me know how I can serve you and help you. And I will be back next week, same time, same place. Happy stamping, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. Toodles. Oh, where did I get the handle for the brush tip? Before I go, you caught me. I was literally about to click. Hold on. It's one of the, words. It's one of the attachments for, there it is. It's called the Take Your Pick die brush. Hold on. You can't see because it's the Take Your Pick die brush tip. It's on page 153 of your annual catalog. And it attaches. So you would take this out. You would take the the putty tip out, and then you can put in, yeah, the putty tip, and then it just screws in. And then it just screws in. So I mean, I guess you don't need the take your pick tool, but it gives you a handle to use it. Page 153. It is $12. It's a lifesaver for those little pesky little things. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know. Reach out to me. Plenty of ways to get a hold of me. And that ends today. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining me. And I hope to see you next week. Have a good one, everyone. Happy stamping.